guys, welcome back to Nina's Virtue, the space where faith meets flow and obedience becomes movement. Today, we're naming something tender: fear and discomfort. A lot of times we like to stand in the shadows and we don't have an answer for why. A lot of times we hesitate to do things and we don't want to acknowledge that it's the fear or the discomfort of being seen. And it's not as enemies, but let's invite our fear and discomfort into the conversation, because we have to stand in the truth that sometimes what unsettles us is what's trying to awaken us. Fear can feel like a wall, and it's not one of those walls that you feel strong enough to walk through, but it's one of those walls that you must brace yourself for, because you can conquer that wall. Discomfort can become frustrating, especially if you're not open to receive the warning. But what if the battle you face isn't meant to terminate your ambition or encourage you to quit? Could it be that the same thing tormenting you is the one experience that settles the score? When God calls us, it's rare that comfort is the only observation. There's a song I like, it's called Greater Is Coming, and she talks about the shaking, the beating, and the pruning. There will be moments where you feel so down, where you feel like how much more can I take? But with God on your side, you have to learn to cast your burdens onto Him and believe that if He's called you to do something, He's going to also get you through it. In your openness to receive clarity, we understand that we are also faced with tension. The question isn't, am I afraid? It's, what is this fear revealing about my faith? What are the parts of you that need pruning, that need strengthening? Where do you see yourself lacking the belief, not only in yourself, but that God will really equip you to do what He's called you to do? There's a quote from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron that speaks directly to this, where she says, blocked artists are not lazy, they're afraid. First and foremost, this book is something that, as far as my creative friends are concerned, I'm always like, oh my gosh, you should read this book. It's like a 12-week journey that allows you to dive deeper into your calling, but also to find the joy and the comfort to do the things you love again without being bound by the stressors of life or, the stressors in your mind. So this is a book that is especially for those wrestling with the strength to silence the internal opposition. That quote, blocked artists are not lazy, they're afraid, reframes everything, especially for the one who feels like they're not producing enough or who's hit a standstill. It reminds us that stagnancy, while it may look like a lack of discipline, often stems from fear. Fear that drains our passion, that paralyzes our movement, or that has the power to amplify every doubt questioning our worth and likeness. But what if we saw fear differently? What if fear was a mirror, not to shame us, but to show us where belief needs to deepen? Your efforts are enough for right now. Your pause is not your punishment. Don't let feeling stuck lead you into shame. Name your fear. Name that one thing that has you stuck. That one thing that you're like, oh, am I ever going to get over this hurdle? Am I ever going to see past this? Am I ever going to feel like this can be done? Then ask yourself, is this fear, this hill, this battle protecting you, or is it preventing you? I know for myself, even when it was making music, my one fear was, I don't know if my music is enough for the people that have already supported me thus far. And I love music. I love singing. I believe that I possibly should have found some type of talent into playing some type of instrument because it would have been better for me. But the fear of me wondering what others thought really stopped me from reaching the audience that was just patiently waiting for me to do the thing that they believe I'm capable of doing. And it sucks because you don't want to prevent yourself from walking in a purpose, a calling, or a talent that was given to you that nobody else has. that thing inside you, nobody else can carry it like you do. Nobody else can present it like you do. It was solely made for you to produce and publish for other people to relish in. But if you're not doing it based off of the fears that are preventing you, sometimes the inner saboteur will tell you that you're protecting yourself, but you shouldn't be protecting yourself from what other people say, because people are going to talk anyways. Not everything you make is going to be loved. Not everything you make is going to get the most likes or be valued, and that's okay. But it's your effort to keep trying so you can see what actually sticks, that allows you to walk through and navigate that fear so you can actually accomplish what you set out to do. Discomfort is not your detour. In a miraculous way, it might just be your breakthrough. Sometimes it's the awakening. We all need a wake-up call. And it can be in the wake-up call that the stretching and the uncertainty can come through and show the exposure of your irritation. Remember that this is not punishment. It could be a sacred moment to reflect and reassess. When you feel unsettled, pause. Don't rush it, nor try to flee from the very thing you've invested your time in. Ask yourself, is this discomfort draining me or directing me? There's sometimes we find ourselves called to do things because we see how easy it was for somebody else to find success in it. And that journey can be very draining because we're comparing ourselves to the success of others, thinking that, oh, it should have been easy for them, so it should be easy for me. And that's not your plight. That's not your story. Once you are settled in exactly what you were called to do, you will be able to submerge yourself in the fact that your discomfort is really directing you to find the right answers, the right tools to produce the right thing. Listen, discomfort has a way of distracting you from your calling or deepening your commitment to it. But understand that because you are the author of this story, you can either capitalize on this chapter or close the book. Let your discomfort become your compass. Let tension be your teacher. And let our dear sister obedience be our rhythm. It is difficult to be obedient, difficult to stay the course, because we are all working day to day, living a life. There's many of us that maybe have kids, or we're working a 9 to 5, or we get off from our 9 to 5 and realize that even though we clocked out, we still have work to do. And it's not fun. It's not joyful, but there has to be a way that you treat yourself. And by treating yourself is making sure that you are also pursuing purpose. I'm not saying that it has to be every day when you get off from your 9 to 5 or you get off mom duty that you need to be submitting yourself to your calling. But at least 3 days out of the week, find the joy in doing that thing that you love again, because there's somebody out there that's waiting for that. There are people that are wondering where you are at. Where have you been? Why aren't you producing this thing that you made me fall in love with? Where is it at? Through this journey, you have to keep the faith. When all else feels lost, call out to God. He genuinely wants to see your creations. He marvels at your work. He's the one who first believed that you were capable of achieving this goal. So if you have no other reason, let him be the reason that you press on. Understand that God wouldn't give you nothing that you could not bear. In your efforts to be successful, you have to find the balance of understanding that you can't be everything to everyone if you are not fulfilling your purpose. Because fulfilling your purpose means that you get to possibly maximize the time that you have for the people that you love. But there has to be the beginning of the journey where you have to grin and bear. And you have to find the middle ground. You have to be like, look, I can't be all or nothing for you if I'm not all or nothing for what God has called me to do. Because he is the reason. He is the voice that echoes in your spirit, and he is the encouragement that's going to constantly nudge you if you're not making the proper time to pursue what he's called you to pursue. This week, we are boldly naming the fear. Not to glorify it, but to disarm it. Pray over the fear that has you stumped. Write it down, speak it aloud, Cast it out. Your moment with fear is minimal as long as you are willing to face the fear and do it anyway. And though you may have the victory in this moment because you feel like I have faced my fears, I have jumped over that hurdle, understand that there may come a time when fear shows up through your critics, your own self-belief of what you can accomplish, or even through the ones that you love. But one thing I can attest to is you have to keep affirming yourself. Not everyone will support you. Not everyone will understand what you're building or why you're building it. The gift that God has given you, understand that it may not be everybody's cup of tea, and that is okay, because there will be a time where you're not desired by everyone and you keep going, and then suddenly, because of the impact, because of the influence, everybody will want a piece, but they won't be able to afford it. So continue doing what you're doing, because in the small beginnings, the lack of others' interest doesn't diminish your value. It actually expands your reach. In that pursuit to keep going, to keep believing, to keep striving, you're going to find this fire inside you that's willing to knock on every door, even if they decide to slam it in your face. This will allow you the opportunity to find the spaces that celebrate your mission. Remember, just as Jesus told the disciples, if anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, leave that home or town and shake the dust off your feet. You can refer to Matthew 10:14 for that. And it is a true testament of all of us following in our pursuits. It's hard to be turned down, to be rejected, but are you going to reject your calling because somebody didn't see the end? Because I'm pretty sure if there's something that you're pursuing because God called you to it, God has given you a glimpse of what the end looks like. You are in the trial and error of trying to see how to get through it, or what will stick, or how it's going to happen. But because you believe and you are putting in the effort, it'll come around. Don't let the fear stop you. Don't let the discomfort of the no's or the naysayers get you from doing what you were called to do. Because even if you face 5 no's, there will be 10 people out there who are willing to say yes. You maybe just haven't found your people yet. You maybe just haven't found that one thing that's going to stick. But that doesn't mean that it's over. Listen, I was writing music. I love to write. So what am I doing now? I'm writing for my podcast. I'm writing for this blog that I created. And I'm also still writing music. There's something for everyone. But as a goal-oriented woman who wants to pursue the thing that God called me to do, I have found the fun in writing my music. I have found the revelation in writing my blog. And I have found my voice in doing this podcast. Which means that in every way, not only have I offered something for every vice that other people may have, I have provided myself with this freedom to not only spill out what I feel, but pour into you what God has called me to share based on my own experiences and what He believes will lead you to where you are called to be. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to, I feel like we live in a world where people, they make you believe that you can't even question your worth. It happens. You will go to places where you feel like you're not enough. You will be in rooms where when these doors start to open to new opportunities, you will stand in the room and be like, wow, I can't believe I made it here. But it doesn't mean it's because you're not worthy. It means that just like the other people that are in the room that are so amazing, you too put the time in and made enough impact to be there. There's somebody that sees your small beginnings and they're not saying anything now, and it could possibly be because they're trying to see if you're consistent, if you have the self-belief and the confidence to keep going. Some people don't care if you have one viewer, one customer, one client. Some people don't care about that. They care about the confidence that you have in sharing who you are. That is huge. That is so, 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 so huge. So don't let the naysayers or the small beginnings fracture your being from standing in the confidence that you have already built up to pursue this. All of this to say, I want you guys to keep moving, keep creating, and keep the faith. It is important and it will stand the test of time. Thanks, guys, for joining me here on Nina's Virtue, where we're actively grabbing our keys and suiting up with intention. If this episode stirred something in you, share it with someone who's walking through tension. And remember, your calling isn't found in comfort, it's found in surrender.